Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, or good morning to you. Man, this is TA, your entrepreneur coach, coming to you again with another episode of Unleashed as we close out this year. And for me, closing out a year is a big deal. I actually start my closing out on my life and even my business, taking a look at those things that are important to me. I start really right about the end of August, the beginning of September. It's a process I've been doing for years. And this year, I decided to do something a little bit different with all of the people that I coach. And then people that I've just been talking to is I decided to have them do the exact same thing that I do. Matter of fact, they're all working on it right now. And we are going to be huddling all throughout January. My calendar is crazy already in what's called a life imperative. And this is something, if you've never heard about it, I want you to go look it up. But I'm going to talk about it here tonight because I really want to encourage you to do the exact same thing. Ever since I launched the Unleashed series, and that started, I think it was October the 13th, I've been focused literally with one message. There may have been different sides of the message that I brought, different angles of it, different pieces of it, but it's all been leading up to this moment. Anything that I do, I always have an intentionality to it. I've got a direction I'm heading. I've got a purpose and a mission. I joke all the time, but I take it serious. I'm a superhero. So, of course, I have a mission, and the mission has been laid out for me. It has been very clear, as I stated in the very first episode of Unleashed. I know exactly what it is that I'm supposed to do. Now, the way in which I go about doing it, I've been launching over the last couple of months to really test it, to get feels and feedback, to see what works, what doesn't, to see what's hitting a home run, what's not, the way in which to do it. And I think I've got a good idea as to how I want to start the new year and run that course for 6 months as I teach all of the people that I coach to do. And then right about May is when you take a look at things and then you make those adjustments. And so I've been working with the people that I coach, been working with my team as well, on top of even my CEO Xavier. And then on top of that, just even what my family is going to be doing. My husband sent out the email where it's a whole financial imperative, and we're going to be huddling on Saturday as a family, me, him, and Brianna, and yes, little Boogie too, because man, we want to start her early at 7 to really do this on a annual basis, and then right about May is when you come back and look at it. And so I want to do that tonight. You know, I want to kind of make this a an episode that you can watch over and over and over again. I want this one to be one that maybe is still streaming years to come. And I want to be able to share with you and give to you something that I'm going to say is priceless to do. On top of that, I'm going to tell you if you do it, it will immediately change you completely the moment you start working on it. And then I am going to give to you guys, I think it's 13, and I'm going to go quick with those 13 things that I'm going to tell you over the last 3 years in particular, and especially over this last 12 months. I'm going to give you 13 things that, based on all the people that I've coached in these last 3 years, all the people I've touched from not just the United States, from even all over the world, I really kind of had to sit here the last couple of days and think, what is 13 things that if I was going to give to them, that I was going to say to them that I know can't go into this? There you go. Don't put this into it. If this is something that you know that is happening to you, or it's something that you're doing, I really want to speak raw to you. I want to speak truth to you. I want to be that person that you can't stand and you get tired of hearing, but you find yourself coming back just because you know it's real love, true love, it's honesty, it's forthright, and it's real talk. Okay. I don't want to be somebody that's just liked. I want to have a purpose, I want to have a mission, and I want to fulfill it. And so I'm going to give you 13 things. These are crucial. And if you listen to them, I guarantee you almost on every single one, you're going to say, woo, okay, yeah, that one is one that I need to maybe remove, put on the chopping block, or I need to rewrite it. Because the whole goal is for us to not repeat where we are. is to grow and evolve, to move on and move forward. And that's what this is about. But if we don't unplug, if we don't understand our self worth, if we don't make a list of the things that we need to heal from and make that part of the plan that we need to work on that and heal, if we don't start to look at our life and realize we have one, so we better be living it and it better be the one we want to live, all of those things go into what we create. All of those things that we lay and that we glean from or get influence from or that we watch and listen to affect what this episode is about. And it is the foundation that we lay. It's very simple. What you lay in your foundation is what you build. And so with that, you guys, I've got my notes here in front of me. I'm going to actually try it this way versus doing an iPad. But I want to dive in. And again, if you're watching this, I'm going to probably stop a couple times to tell you to share it. If you're listening to it on Spotify, on iHeart, on Pandora, or on Deezer or Amazon Music or Apple Podcasts, man, I'm going to have you and ask you to do the exact same thing. If you're on YouTube, do the exact same thing. Share this just so it can get to those that maybe it's supposed to get to. And through what we do, by just paying it forward, it can get to them right on time. Okay, so let's dive in, you guys. First of all, as I mentioned before, this is something that I do every single year. I've had many people ask me, man, what is that? Can you do that, with us? Can you do it with me and my husband or me and our family or do it with, these kids at this organization? And it's called a life imperative. And it's something that you really take a look at where you are and everything about your life, you pick it up and you analyze it and you lay it on what would be kind of like a chopping block. And you got to really speak truth to yourself about it. You can't fantasize about what you see. You got to look at it real and raw. You got to tell the truth, speak the truth about it, and then you got to make a decision. And then that decision ends up being something that you've got to decide. Are you taking that with you? Are you going to allow that to be part of what is the foundation for the next year? Is it something that's been, profitable for you, fruitful? Has it helped you? Has it hurt you? Is it something that, man, you're just exhausted and tired? So you're just like, you know what? This just drains me. Okay. It's not something that's giving me a benefit in my life. It needs to go. But it's also about making those decisions as well as to what needs to now be added. Speaking truth to that, being honest with yourself, really looking at your plan and maybe even having some discussions with some of the people that it pertains to, and speaking real and raw and kind of doing what I had to do earlier today, with one of my clients and his team. And again, I'm a female and they're all men. And so I had to kind of say, look, this is boardroom talk. All the feelings, all the emotions need to be checked out. We're going to go hardcore here. And we really each had to kind of come in hardcore. And boy, when we did that, when we let the feelings out and we could just speak frank and direct and speak truth, what we ended up with was freaking awesome because it was closeout for them. This was their deadline. We had to have this done on this date. And this is a long-standing, corporation. So it's something we had to work on. And I had to get really intense. But boy, did they get intense too. Because sometimes we got to just be black and white, and we struggle with that as people. We got to speak it, and we struggle with doing that. And boy, we struggle with hearing it. But when we can get through that, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about, boy, what we could do. And so I want to walk you through the first process. Okay, again, please share this. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to look at the definition of what foundation means. Okay, I'm going to go kind of technical, and I'm going to kind of use a house as a way of explaining what foundation is and how there's actually 3 steps of a foundation. And as I'm telling you this and talking about the definition and talking about what a foundation is and the significance of a house, I want you to be thinking about that analogy and apply it to your life. Okay, I want to make sure that you're aware I'm going that place with it. So kind of just be listening up closely and think about how that would be the same, believe it or not, when it comes to your life. And so right off the bat, we're going to start off with you guys, the foundation definition. The definition of a foundation is that the foundation is to produce the basic ideas or structure from which something larger can be developed on it or can develop from it. And that's from Cambridge. Another one, and these are two different definitions from Merriam-Webster. A foundation provides something such as an idea, principles, or facts from which another thing can develop or develops from it. Same thing. And then it also says that a foundation creates usually a stone or concrete structure that supports the building from underneath so other things can be anchored to it, secured to it, and locked in. Woo! I know you guys can feel that already where we're going with this, okay? And again, think about life and how foundation, again, the foundation we lay is our topic today, okay? How to lay a foundation. Like I said earlier, when building a house, there is a threefold step process. And it was funny, I was going to go dial one of my clients. He's a builder. He builds houses for a very large, they're huge. And I know he was busy at that time. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to go look it up. And here's what it's got. The very first thing it says, I don't care where you go to lay a foundation before you can even get to the three-step fold, guess what you got to do? You must first clear the property from debris before you can start. Man, and when I think of life, and we're going to be building this life imperative, the first thing we must do before we start to even talk about what we're going to lay, we got to clear all the debris. We got to clear all the crap. I'm just going to be direct. Okay, all the nonsense, all the things that are no good, all the trash, I'm just going to say it, all the rubble, all the rocks, all the pieces that would cause you, if you were laying down a foundation, to not have what is so needed, a smooth foundation. Remember, it's a solid piece. Well, if you pour it on a bunch of crap or trash or debris, is it going to be solid? No, it's not. And we're going to talk about what happens when you don't do that. So just continue to follow me. Okay. But that's the very first thing. It's like a warning sign. Clear out the property, clear out the lot, clear out everything and make sure that nothing is there. So that lets me know right off the bat that when we are going to be looking at how we're going to build our life from now on, and let me just caveat, maybe this is something that you need to do. Things aren't working the way you want it to do. Things aren't going the way you want it to do. And you're freaking tired. You're at a place where you're tired of it not working. Or you know that you've been working your butt off and you've got a little bit, but this is not adding up to the effort, that you've been putting in and you're exhausted. Or that you've been working hard and you got growth, but man, you need more growth for the things that you want to do for your family, for your life, the goals that you want to achieve, or even, and I believe wholeheartedly, the people that are going to be with me on this page or on YouTube or follow me, y'all are givers. I know that people who aren't givers and who are really selfish for real, they're not going to follow me. They're not going to hang with me. You guys have got heart. You care about people around you, or you wouldn't be hanging over here with me. You think I didn't lose people from my number in the beginning? Sure I did. And I'm just going to tell you that I did my Backstreet Boys, or no, it's not Backstreet, it's NSYNC. Bye, bye, bye. Because let me tell you what, this is meant, as I said in my YouTube promotional video that I aired here in Unleash, it's not meant for everybody, but it's meant for the right people. And so this is what you have to do in order to do that. And so right off the bat, we need to assess what is in our life. What's in our life? What's happening in our life? What's happening even in things in our head? Things that are happening maybe when we look at our relationships, friendships, our career, our job, our bank account, our health. Okay, everything important to us, everything that should be important to us. This is where you've got to clear out, which means already you're removing things. Already you're having to look at things and make a decision and decide, does this add to you or does it deplete you? Is this going to cause a bumpy road for you and issues and problems and obstacles you don't need? Is it going to affect the foundation you're trying to lay down and it's going to affect the results that you get? Does it even cause you to be weakened so therefore you can't even uphold a structure like it says, that you're not even solid? So you know it's something you need to address, you need to deal with, or you need to get rid of it. Right off the bat, you got to have a truth talk to yourself. Okay, this is where we can't be fantasizing about things, hoping and wishing things will change. This is where we got to be real in this moment, which is why I said earlier there may be some people you need to talk to, okay? Or I'm going to say it, or you may need to be doing some serious praying and looking for some real answers to make some tough decisions in this moment. But here's the deal, you can't take it with you if it's not aligned with what you're trying to build and create in your life. Because, and I'll say it again later, it will cause cracks in the foundation and it will cause separations and it will affect your whole entire freaking house. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and I don't mind saying it again later because we need to say that. Okay, now the threefold process here. The very first thing on the threefold process is going to be what's called the footing is done first. This is laid down. Footings are the most important part of a foundation construction. The purpose of a footing is, number one, to support the foundation. Remember, we're talking about life, but we're using foundation. What are the things that we need to have laid down that are going to support what you're trying to build? Okay. The next one is that it'll prevent it from settling. That means what are things now we need to lay down to prevent it from having some settling and some cracks already in what we're laying down? Okay, we maybe need to lay those things down. And again, we had to clear the lot. Maybe you forgot some things and now you're realizing you need to get rid of it right there. And then the other part of a footing and the benefit and why it's the most important part of a foundation, it's crucial, is because it provides the proper support for the foundation, which ultimately affects the whole structure. So you've got one part of this footing that supports the foundation, but this part supports the structure that you're about to build. Foundation, structure. Okay, so again, what are you laying down? Where you're laying down and we're about to start pouring, are they things that are going to support the foundation, that are going to prevent it from having cracks and settling, which is big, huge issues, or ultimately affect the whole building of the structure you're about to build? We only want to lay down things that are going to support and create and protect those things. The next part is now the foundation we're going to pour. This is actually a cement foundation, and I hope you see that. Sometimes we try to pour a foundation before we even do the first part. Woo, come on, that was good. Sometimes we're already trying to pour something down and we hadn't even cleared the lot or we didn't even lay down the things first. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about it. Those things are principles. The footings are principles. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the cheat sheet right now. Okay, but then now we're laying down the foundation. This is poured. The first one is laid down. The second one is what you're pouring into it. First, you're laying it down, and then now, what are you pouring into it? Okay, a foundation, when we're building a house, is the next most crucial element. Regardless of how big or how tiny what you're going to build, it doesn't matter. It is crucial. If the house is not built on a stable foundation, the foundation will break within time, causing harm to the house's internal and external. My God, I just got chills. Woo! Come on, I'm onto something. I'm going to say that one again, you guys. And again, like I told you, it's going to be a really great episode. Please make sure you're sharing it. The foundation now is what we pour. But before we poured anything, we lay down all of our footings, the things that we're going to anchor our foot in. Footings. It's the word footings. It's the same thing. But now we're pouring. What are we going to allow to pour into it? What are we going to? And now you know why I did the last 2 episodes that I did, which is why I said unplug. Because when you try to pour your foundation, what's in your foundation now? What are you pouring in? And it says again, foundation on which a house is built is the most second crucial element. Regardless of how big your life is going to be or how big of what you're building or how small it is. If the house is not built on stable foundation, if you're not pouring a stable foundation, the whole foundation will break within time. And it will cause harm to the house, which is what you're building, internally and externally. That means not only on the inside with our heart and our mind and the way we think, yeah, I'm going to go there, but also on the outside physically. That means now if we're not okay, we're breaking inside, we're not stable, And now we've got all these things happening that are harming us. What do you think is going to happen out in your life? That's the external. It is going to do the exact same thing. And it continues on. A home foundation is the load bearing portion of the structure. So when we pour this foundation, how good it is and how solid it is, man, one of the other reasons why it needs to be right and good and healthy is because it's going to be what bears the biggest load in the proportion of everything. It's what everything is going to sit on. It is to carry and hold and bear that weight. Typically, it's built below the ground. Woo, kind of like a seed, huh? Come on. It's a root. I'm going to say it again. Typically, the foundation, you've got your footings that are laid, and then your foundation is poured below the ground, not on top, because that could just wither away. That could all of a sudden get a storm and it gets choked. Come on, y'all know where I'm going, and just gets uprooted. Or a big wind comes through and it's gone. It is something that needs to be anchored down, like rooted like a seed. At a minimum, any house foundation must do these three things well. This is just what's being poured. It must do these three things: support the structure above, keep out groundwater so water can't get in and start to mess up your foundation, which means it never solidifies. Oh my gosh. Woo! And then act, here it is, as a barrier, protection, a wall between not only water, but any type of soil vapor, bad stuff. It must be deeply rooted. Woo! Come on. That's what I'm talking about, you guys. Come on. Again, please make sure you share this. We're building a life imperative. We're laying down some foundation. We're going to get our stuff done. We ain't having the same years we've been having. Everything different is happening in the next year, and this is how we're doing it. Okay. And then last, the third part of a foundation, now that we've got the footings laid down, now that we're pouring in the right foundation and pouring it down underneath so that it can be rooted, secured, protect, and be a wall, okay? Now it's time for the next piece. It's the framing of the house. This we build. So the first one we lay, the second one we pour into. What we're pouring into. What are we laying down? That is our footing that we're standing on. What are we pouring in? Okay. And then what are we building? All these things affect what is created, what the end result is, what you lay down, what you pour into it, and how deep you pour, and be careful what you pour into it. And then what you now have your structure, the structure. All of those three things affects the end result of what you're trying to create. So the framing of the house, we build this, okay, is a construction. This is now all the work that goes into. This is construction is work. This is the effort. This is the, all of the sweat and the tears and the all day long. Man, this is where the biggest part. This is the fitting together of the pieces, all your pieces coming together to give a structure. And in that, it has a purpose to support a shape, to create something. Framing materials are usually solid. They are wood, they're engineer wood, or they are, here's mine, this is me, I want steel. Come on. I've seen what happens to wood. I know the Three Little Pigs. Huff and puff, come on, I want steel. Okay, so this is now your frame. Again, make sure you're grabbing the references to life, you guys. Okay, so now we've got that. That's what it takes when we talk about laying the foundation and what we lay. It's a threefold process. And I want you to take a second and think about now, how does that apply to your life? How does that apply to what you're going to do next year? How does that apply now as you're looking through and analyzing, checking your inventory, making some hardcore decisions now? Because if you keep it and it stinks, it's going to break your house. If you don't remove it and you know it is unhealthy, it's a vapor, it's going to kill your dreams. Okay, this is where we can't be playing. This is where we need to not be worried about feathers being ruffled, offending anybody. Look, you got your own house to build. This is my house. This is where now we go back to what all these messages have been about. You are worth everything. You are one of the most valuable assets of all. And what is within you, think about all my messages. Okay, you have a purpose. You have a future. You have a life. You are called to do great things. You're called to build a structure unlike anything, not only one for you, one for your family, your grandkids, and your future lineage, but also for your community and to help other people who do not have. Now, again, it's all piecing together all these messages. I wasn't just going live for the fun of it. However, I did have a lot of fun with a lot of them. Okay, so now we're going to go into, and I'm just going to recap. I like this part. Tracy, why is it so important? We've already talked about a couple of those things, but why is it so important again to have a strong foundation, not just building a house, but all together? Okay, so here we go. We're going to recap it. One, because it's the primary purpose, the foundation. It supports the load of the entire building. It is a well-designed, strong foundation that keeps the building standing. I'll say that again. That having a strong foundation, the three folds, will allow it to be well designed. It will be a strong foundation that will keep the building strong while the forces of nature and life wreak havoc. Come on, that's our adversary. Come on, please tell me I watched all my episodes. Okay, that's the adversary. And this also includes earthquakes, floods, droughts, frost heaves, tornadoes, winds, and severe storms. To me, this is all the things that life throws at you. This is all the things that could come and tear up your stuff, your life. These are all of the challenges that we're going to face every day. All the adversities that we're going to have to learn how to face those, bear those, and persevere, and to know that we've got the victory. It's written that way. That's why your foundation, what you're laying in your life, what you're stepping on, what you're allowing to be poured into your head and your mind and your thoughts means you're pouring it into your foundation. And then what you're building. And if you're so busy building what you see in the world, what are you building? That's not even yours. That's the world's. Again, everything clicks together. The next one, a well-built foundation keeps, here it is, the occupants of the building safe during calamities such as, again, earthquakes, floods, strong winds, etc. So we got the first one is to secure what you're creating, your life. But the other reason why solid foundation is needed is because it protects the occupants that's living in that life. And we're going to talk about some things that we're not doing that we need to do. We got to start taking life the way life is. It's precious and it's a good one and it is full of life and it's serious. And we got to start treating it that way. It's the most valuable thing that's been given to us is the gift of life. Okay. The next one, foundation and a strong was important because it distributes the weight of the structure over a large area in order to avoid overloading the structure. To me, that means stress. Overloading yourself, having more than what you really should have, more than what you could bear. That when we go build on something solid, we go build on something strong, we go build on something that's rooted in no matter what storm comes through, our foundation that we built on, we can withstand anything, then man, it allows us to be able to handle more versus not being able to handle what is given to us or having it where we've got to endure more than what we were supposed to be dealing with that was never written for you. I really hope, again, you're thinking about this. Continue to apply the life. We're writing a life imperative here, okay? This allows that to be distributed. You know, one of the things this makes me think about is in finances. When you are getting into now investing, it is important that you have diversity, that you don't just invest in one thing so that your investments can be distributed among multiple things. So if one is struggling, the other ones can bear that weight, can make up the difference. That's the exact same thing I think about. That when you're struggling over here, maybe it's in your job because you've got your foundation rooted right, rooted in the right thing. And then now you've got a strong structure and you've rooted it in the right thing that's strong. You know you can get through that. You can endure that. You can overcome that. It is okay. We're going to be all right. You can huff and puff all you want to, but you can't blow this house down, this life down, because I know what I'm rooted in. Ooh, gosh, I love this. And then the last one is to build a strong foundation is important because it prevents what is built on, and it will not allow shifting and start to now crack and separate. I'm going to say it again. When you have your foundation of life built and anchored in the right seed, in the right root, that you're pouring the right things into it, you're building on the right thing, then it means that you've got a strong foundation that will prevent your life, what you're building, your structure, what you're creating to shift, to crack, or to just downright separate into pieces. I don't know about you, and all of this comes from building a house. And this is what we're doing. We're laying down foundation to build a life. And I'm going to say it. I believe that many of us have gotten to a place where we're ready to cut out that and now start with a new canvas. Again, all these words I'm using, start with a new canvas. Just start with something new and say, you know what? That's not working for me. And being okay to say it, I'm now going to do it differently. Or I know that I deserve more because I want to do more, and this is no longer giving that to me. We've got to start to feel okay with rejecting what's given to us, with deciding that it's not okay and choosing to change it. And then to understand we got the right to. So now that we've done this, and now let's apply this to life. I already have, but let's just go here. So when I say foundation, I mean the inner structure that helps you live your life with less stress and overwhelm, that will give you a stronger inner foundation, that will give you intentionality living because it helps you to make decisions, better decisions to shape your future. That it now is about your life, who you are, what happens in your life. It is now about your worth and your value, and it's now being anchored in the strongest thing that you can to be rooted so that no matter what, your life, the occupants in it, your future, what you're working for, what you're sweating for, is still standing. And that it's not about anybody else. It's not the image of anybody else. It's your life. And we are all called to be builders. We've all been given the ability and the power to build. But the life that our life. But what you are standing on, what you choose to plant your feet in, what you allow to be poured into your foundation, what you allow to still stay there, and you keep taking it with you every year, what you're holding on to, things that you've never let go of, or you're still trying to figure out, and I'm going to repeat some of these, and you're taking it with you year to year, is all that debris on your lot, on your land, on your life, that you're trying to pour something, build something, work hard for something that's messing up your foundation, causing cracks, allowing water to get in, causing it to shift, causing it to break and separate, because we're not building on a solid foundation. We're not building on a rock. We're not building on stone. We're not building on something that no matter what, it's a cornerstone. That right there is what we got to build on. That right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you, I think it's 13. I'm doing good on my time. Go, TA. I've got 13 that I'm going to go really quick on, that I sat here and thought about the last 3 years, all the people that I've been honored and blessed to work with and coach with, all the people that I still am, and more are coming. I'm getting 3 to 4 people booking new consults a day that I'm like, thank God I have a team. And everybody's about to come back from Christmas holiday. That I'm like, who's this? Who's this? But you know what? It's time. It's time for us to do this. It's time for us to now stand up and take ownership of our life and build your life and unleash from all those things that have been causing havoc, that have been raging war, that have been your adversary, your storm, your hurricane, and to get rid of it and clear it out. And to be truthful about it, to be honest with yourself, and to start building on solid ground. Okay? So here's the ones that I'm going to give to you. Number 1, and they're not in order, because let me tell you, I just remembered it, thought about it, and said, yep, and these aren't all of them. This is just the ones that I got in the last 72 hours. We have to stop getting mad and angry when people don't agree with us. We have to stop looking at people not agreeing with us as them hating us or not agreeing with who and what we are. We cannot take that with us. We cannot keep that in our foundation. I want you to think on it. You don't have to take any of these. I just want you to think on it. And I want you to be truthful to yourself and ask yourself, is that me? And if that is me, do I want to continue to do that? Do I want to, on some of these, continue to allow people to do that to me? Or these things that I know that need to go away? Okay, this is where we're clearing out our lot right now. And then we'll talk about what we need to pour into it, okay? All right, just think on that one. Number 2, and I'm putting myself in here. This is not where TA's all perfect, because I'm going to talk about that perfection here on one of these right here. Number 2, we need to stop looking for and taking the easy road. We have become more of a society that is promoting more of a lazy and quick way to get it and get their mentality and behavior versus taking the road less traveled, doing the work, working hard, being able to work for what we want versus waiting for people to get us. So because other people are focused on themselves, we never get what is truly ours because we won't do the work. And we're looking for quick ways to get what we want, opposed to doing the work and creating a solid foundation that once we have it, it can't be taken from us. That's you. Write that down. If not, we'll go into the next one. Oh, there's a second part to this. If we all go down the same road, this is good, then how do we grow if everybody's going down the same road? How do we evolve? We will truly become a dying race. It is those who dare big, go the place no one has traveled, do the impossible, do it differently, that lifts the lid for everyone. Their win, doing something different, being different, shows everybody else what could still be done, how not everything has been done, and that there is still life and a life to be lived and a life for all of us and what can be done. So if they want to do something, they can do it too. It lifts the lid. But if we just all go the same place, if we just do what everybody else does, or we take the easy road, the one that's simple, then how do we ever, as a society, as people, evolve, grow? And when we see people do the impossible, we see people do the hard thing, it causes all of us to be elevated. That win raises all of us up. But if we just go do it easy, we don't want to go do the work, then believe it or not, when you don't work the muscle, you lose it. If you don't work the brain, it deteriorates. This is about growing as a society, growing us as a human race. The next one, we have to start to celebrate each other versus hating on each other. We have gotten to a place that we have created a society. This is our foundation, and a human race where failure and making a mistake is not allowed. Only perfection and elitism is allowed. We are actually separating ourselves. We are discriminating against our own race, the human race. We are putting lids of rank and a status on ourselves, one that can't be truly achieved by anyone. Everyone has and will continue to make mistakes. We have got to learn that mistakes are a part of growing up. And to make mistakes means you're trying to do something or that you are human. Everyone will never be able to reach true perfection. So if we only allow perfection to exist, people who make mistakes need to be canceled out, then we are literally killing ourselves. We are literally putting ourselves that only if you're perfect, and then the image we're creating is the one that we're deciding that we all need to look alike, that we all need to be alike, and that's what we need to go and build. And that ends up being the only picture that will be accepted by society as to what perfection is, how we all need to be perfect, or it doesn't matter. We all got to do it perfect and can't make mistakes. And that's the image that we are laying down, stepping on, allowing to be poured in. And if that's parts of you or things you know that's been done to you, then you got to look at those people that are causing you to feel that way when you make mistakes. Or if you're one of those when people make mistakes, you don't know something that we have got to have and pour in is grace and forgiveness. If we do not have grace and forgiveness and realizing no one's perfect, including our own selves, then we will build not a house, but a glass house. And we'll end up having people throw rocks at it, it'll tear down, or we'll end up being one to throw something on our own glass house as well, or we will build on sand and everything will go down. Again, this is the image of the world. What are you going to build? The next one, and this is foundational, we have got to stand for something else, not just ourselves. We cannot lay a foundation that is just about I. It's got to be about we, where we must tend to ourselves and lay a foundation where it comes to taking care of ourselves, being about our peace, our mental health, our body, our mind, our belief, our self-worth. We must not lay a selfish foundation. We were born into this world, born into this earth in order to be significant beings to each other, to click into each other, to align with each other, to be unified with each other, to stand for something, to be about somebody else. This is now where we've got to decide what foundation. Are we going to continue to keep the foundation that we've been seeing over the last couple of years, or are you going to lay down now a foundation in your life to not just be about you, to be about others, to not separate but to unify, to not reject but to accept, to not criticize but to embrace, not just the little things, on all the things that matter. Things that protect, uphold, secure, and grow us to become more, to be better than before, even if just the day before, and to not allow fear to hold us hostage or be the excuse as the reason why we allow another foundation to build our house. Again, if it ain't you, don't grab it. But I need you to think about these as to maybe it's not you, but something that's in your foundation that you now need to look at and maybe it needs to go away. Because here's the thing. If you allow it to stay in your life, even though you're pouring all your goodness, what's going to be mixed in that? That's debris. That's trash. That's not healthy. And then you're going to be this great person, but you're allowing other things in your foundation, which creates your structure. Number 5, foundation. What foundation are we laying? These are the things that I've learned with the people that I've worked with, even the things that I've learned in my own life. We have to seek for truth in all instances and circumstances. We got to lay down truth seeking, truth upholding, and nothing but truth. We need to be about truth even to our own selves. We have to stop telling ourselves and each other only what we want to hear and start speaking the thing. The only thing that matters is truth, righteousness. Nothing can be built on a lie. Nothing can uphold on a lie. Not even within ourselves. We'll be in turmoil. We'll go build a house and tear it down. We'll go build a house and realize it can't stand because it's not built on truth. Nothing can be built on a lie, period. Nothing can stand and nothing but truth can keep us truly creating the life that we desire, having the life we want, the truth of all the things we need to accept or we need to learn, or the things that we need to speak to other people, because truth is the only thing that keeps us from being bound to things that now, again, we have to take with us, that are coming with us whether we want it or not, because it's connected to us. We're enslaved to us, which means that if we are not standing in truth, speaking truth, allowing truth to be upheld or poured in, then we are truly not free. We now are allowing all of those lies, even the ones we tell ourselves that we're worth nothing, can't do anything, you're allowing that to be poured into your foundation as well. And the truth is, you're everything and you can do anything. But sometimes we tell ourselves that because it allows us to stay comfortable in the fact that we are not going out there and getting it or going after it. Next one. If we've got things that we are suffering, if we've got pain, if we've got challenges, we have got to get help. You cannot build a life and have things that you're suffering from with your health, mental health, from pain of the past, from feeling forsaken, being hurt and broken. You cannot. I put a post out that if you do not heal yourself, then you're going to build on broken. We have got to start. We are all broken. So don't think that you don't need help. Everybody needs help. We're all broken. And if we continue to try every year to pour our brokenness and not address the issue, we're going to just build something beautiful to come down and be broken again. We will build on broke, and we will get more broke, and we will end up with more broken pieces. We have to stop being worried about how other people see us if they know that we are broken, or being worried about how people will treat us in our broken state. And then also to love ourselves enough that we will go do what it is that we need to do to become whole. Because how can you build a house with holes? Build a house with hole or become whole? How can you? Everything will fall straight through. You can't. This is what you need for you to be happy, to be healthy, and honestly, to live a life that is not life, that is dying inside, and that is you not understanding your worth and value to do everything you can to take care of yourself. Stop worrying about what people will think. Stop worrying about what people will say, because again, like I said, they're broke too. They're broke too. They can sit there and all of a sudden be your friend when you look like you're together, but when you're broken, they don't want to have anything to do with you. That is okay. Then maybe that's the thing you needed to see, to know that they don't deserve to be in your life, or they have issues and you need to pray for them. But it shouldn't be the reason why we don't tend to ourselves and get healthy. We have got to. And do not think for a second, as I've said, that you're strong enough to deal with it. If you've got things that you see over and over and over, you're struggling. Over and over and over, you're hurling. Over and over and over, it's knocking you to your knees. Over and over and over, when someone says that one word, it taps into something 5 years ago, and now all of a sudden you're broken and you're crying or you're checking out, then we must get help. And there is help out there. We cannot live life or build a life, and we are worth everything. We must tend to our life, tend to our heart, tend to our head, tend to our pain, tend to our past. Next, we've got to learn how to break up with things. We have got to stop trying to hold on to things and allowing all those things to come into our foundation year after year. We're holding on. We're holding on to those things. Nope, can't let this go. Nope, got to take this with me. Nope. We've got to learn how to stop trying to hold on to things that we cannot restitute, that we cannot resolve, okay? Or we can't end it in the way that we want to end it, or the way that makes sense to us, or until we feel okay about it. Let it go. Not everything can be explained. Not everything has an explanation, and not everything or an answer is owed to you, and not everything is going to make sense. But we hold on to those things because we're trying to figure it out, trying to understand it, trying to make what our pain feels better by holding on to it, hoping something's going to happen, something's going to be revealed, that we're going to understand. And I'm telling you, there are things in this world you're never going to understand. And things aren't always meant to stay with you. There are things that are meant to come into your life and leave. And there's things that are meant to come into your life and you are to let go. But if we keep holding on to those things, then how can we ever build a life? How can we ever build a future when our whole being is about the past? We must tend to that, which is why the first one led to this one about getting healed. Because sometimes the reason why we can't break up with things is because we've never gotten healed from it. And healing is a real deal. And so it ends up being like a wound that's just open, nothing tended to it, no antibiotics, no nothing. So you're walking around with all these wounds. How can you when that breaks you down and makes you weak? We've got to learn how to say goodbye to some things. We got to learn how to say bye to people. We got to learn how to be okay and to work through and get help with our pain when somebody says bye to us and not look at it that when they left, it means we're nothing. We've really got to work on that. I wish I could think of the quote that Denzel Washington said about that, and I can't, and I do not want to misquote that man because I love him so much. But this is something that, no, we need to get help with it, but we got to break up with it. And then we got to learn how to break up a different way because we break up sometimes ugly. The things that we say to people, how we treat people, and then we want to go and get back at them and hurt them. I mean, this is just things we got to really work on. Okay? We've got to learn how and get help to become stronger when things don't go our way or we get hurt. Because guess what? There's more of that coming. That is not going to stop because that is life. And I'm going to say that because of who you are, the adversary is always going to try to use things to do that. So if we don't learn how to build ourselves up and become stronger to endure that, we are going to struggle. And what kind of foundation are we pouring and letting in? And what are we building? How many times are we going to have cracks and breaks into pieces? Many. There are things that are the unknown and do not make sense. But we've got to start embracing these moments and grow and learn from them and let go and break up with it versus carrying it and taking it with us. One breakup, one pain, one hurt at a time, packing them in a bag and dragging them along with you every place you go. That becomes heavy, becomes tiring. And let me tell you what, it will break you down and it will exhaust you. And it will take your air and your breath and it'll go for your blood too. Okay, we've got to learn how to do that. Next, we got to stop putting off things and being procrastinators. We cannot pour that into our foundation. We got to stop building up a to-do list of things that we don't deal with, that we don't face, that we don't take care of, that we don't tend to or address. It's like building up a debt that you now owe to your own life, that you now owe, and each year you build that debt, you keep adding on debt that you owe of all these things that you needed to do that you didn't do, and that now also draws interest. And now you owe so much money that you no longer can pay it. You have debt from each year to pay because you didn't make decisions, you didn't take care of things, you put them off, you didn't address issues, and it gets so big that now it tries to come and repo your life, repo your mind, your sanity, your dreams, your future, and everything you love. It tries to take it from you because you owe that debt to it by not doing things that you need to. Face things head on. Don't run for them. Stop procrastinating and stop telling yourself, I'll do it later. Because 9 times out of 10, you don't do it. Why? Because new things are coming. And then you're going to look at all the things that you should have done, you were supposed to do, you didn't do. And I'm going to tell you what, that's a debt that will come and choke you. And again, I'm going to use that word. It'll come repo your whole life and all the things that matter to you. Be a doer and a finisher, but don't procrastinate. Next, be proactive, not reactive. Plan for your future. Stop fighting fires and create them. Come on. Stop fighting them. Be a creator of fires. That means when it comes to insurances, life planning, paying off debt, investing, building for the future, having a will and testament, Making sure that you've got things for when, you pass away so that you're not leaving that to your family to figure out how to bury you, all of those things. Stop being reactive, be proactive. Start getting ahead of things and stop waiting for, well, you know what, that hasn't happened yet. Okay, but that's going to happen. So let's start getting after it, being responsible. Okay, let's start pouring that into our foundation and taking care of all the things in our life. Start doing the things that now will get us ahead of an issue versus facing an issue. And because we thought it was never going to happen, or we procrastinated, we didn't tend to it, and now we're in trouble. And so is other people or our family. If you know this is what it takes to protect your life, secure your life, if you know that these are things that you need to do so that other things don't happen. Sometimes it's conversations you need to have. Sometimes it's doing the extras so that these things don't happen. Be proactive. Stop always being in a reactive place, because eventually you're going to feel like you're failing all the time when that's not even what your name is. You're a victor is your name, but you're going to always be not doing things, procrastinating it, putting it off. And then now you're going to have all these things come up and now you're reacting. Start creating plans. Start following through. Don't procrastinate. Start getting off of that and start tending to your life. Again, what are we pouring? What are we building? Because here's the thing. If you've got people around you that love you, everything you do connects and affects them. And everything you pour helps them to build as well. Sometimes you may be the example. Sometimes you may be the one to instigate it and teach them because they don't know. We've got to stop living a reactive life, and we've got to start doing things to be proactive, even when it comes to our health, even when it comes to our finances, even when it comes to our career and our dreams, everything. Be proactive. Don't sit back and wait for things to happen. Crap happens all the time. Don't wait for it. Take a look at those things and write a plan and go be ready for it. Be ready. Have a plan B and a C. Be ready. Okay? Again, we're building a house that no matter what comes at it, it's still standing. Okay? Think about tomorrow and the next. Be a responsible adult and a person. Be prepared for life versus always fighting it or living the life that it gives you. Take control and be in control. You have that authority that's given to you to stand in authority over it and decide what you want and create it. And then my last ones, and I said this, be a finisher. You can never accomplish anything or do or become anything if you start something and never finish it. You say you're going to do something, but then you never do it. You start something and you never finish it. You go halfway and put it down and start something different. You cannot build a life. You can't create opportunities, and opportunities won't come your way. You'll have this life when there's a better life for you. It's what's needed to even be able to constantly create hope, to answer problems. Okay, and that can't happen if you don't finish tasks, if following through with commitments. Be a person of your word, even to yourself. If you tell yourself, I'm going to do that, then be a person to keep your own word to yourself. And then if you're telling other people you're going to do it and you don't, do not think that's not affecting how they see you or what they even want to give opportunities to you. And I'm not saying, again, don't care about what people think, but when it comes to the people in your life or when it comes to opportunities, you want to be known for the person that you want to be known for. That matters. Unless you want to be known as somebody who doesn't keep their word, who says things but never does anything, who starts something, who never finishes. Now, if that's what you want to be, then you do you're doing it 100. But is that what you want to pour into your foundation? Is that what you're trying to build? Okay. And then stop trying to please everyone in your life. You can't. Number one, they are all each a different person with different views and different opinions. You will end up living your life for all these people that you will go insane trying to please everybody. It's literally impossible. You will live your life never feeling like you've accomplished anything because you will be constantly changing it based on others. What they say, how they feel, their opinions would change all the time. Many, all different. You will never feel like you are and can be successful, and you will constantly tear your house down to keep rebuilding it over and over and over again based on what other people say. And I'm going to be honest with you. You build a house and keep tearing it down and keep changing it based on with other people, that's expensive. That's costly. And it's going to cost you as well. This is about building your house, doing you. It's not meant to look like anybody else. It's meant to be your life. We've got one. It's got to be for you. It was given to you. Take in consideration, but do you. It is about your life. And again, as I said at the beginning, they don't like it. Tell them go do it in their life then. This is yours. Stop trying to please everybody. Telling you, and I'm going to say something probably really TA-ish. And a lot of people who are always trying to tell you how to live your life, if you look at their life and you don't see them doing stuff, you better not be listening to them. So I'm going to say, be careful who you listen to. You take a look at their life and see if they're a reflection of what kind of person they're telling you to be. And if they're doing those things in their life, if they're not a doer of what they're saying, then you better not take it in. That's all I'm going to tell you. And many people want to offer those opinions. When you go look at their life, that's not who they are. That's not what they're doing. They're all talk, but you don't see the fruit in their life. You don't see the proof in the pudding. Be really careful with that. Next, be willing to speak up. Be willing to stand up. Be willing to be the one who does what's right. Don't just sit there and say nothing just to keep the copaceticness, or because you don't want to ruffle feathers, or you don't want to have people not like you. Those who lead and who are revolutionary and who rewrite time and who writes history, who changes and allows things now to be, are constantly the ones who do not shut up. They are always the ones that have a voice, and they're always the ones, believe it or not, that are more hated than liked, because people don't want to hear it. Because sometimes the things they're saying is truth, it's convicting other people, and people don't want change. Speak up. Do what's right always. Because it's people like that, people like you, that change the whole entire universe. And those people are needed. And you got to go against the grain always. You got to go against status quo always. You can't go where everybody else goes. You're that road less traveled, like I said in the beginning. Always speak up, okay? And then my last one, and this one's big, and I'm going to actually talk about this one. People that you allow in your house or in your foundation, be careful, analyze it, make sure that there are people that are going to help you build. But this is something I'm going to tell you. Always take people for who they show you they are, not who you believe they can be or what they say they are. Behavior is always the truth, because behavior is always consistent. Stop fantasizing who you want them to be or who you believe they can be. Always take people as true to what they show you they are, not what they tell you they are. People always want to tell you something, but then when you go look at what they do in their behavior, a lot of times you'll see something completely different. Take that as truth. Stop blowing that off. Behavior, actions, not just what people say. Okay? So that's what I'm going to give you real quick. And again, that's just off the last 72 days, off of the last 3 years. And this is during the most intense time in our world right now. These are the things that people said were their lessons. These are the things that they said that they learned. These are 13 of them right here. Okay? And then we're going to end with this. I want you now to ask yourself, as you go into this new year, what are you building? What are you laying down as your footing that you're standing on? Principles and values. What are you allowing to be poured in that is going to be rooted in your foundation, and whom and what? And then what type of structure are you going to be able to build with that? And what kind of structure, what thing are you creating in your life? And do you have the right foundation laid to build that? Or is it time now to clear out all the debris and to now lay new footings, to now pour new foundation, to now build on something solid, to now build on steel, stone, things that can withstand things that can stand no matter what, and that it's solid things you're building on, that no matter what happens in your life, it will still stand. We need to build on a firm foundation, one that can withstand whatever comes. Foundation is also about what we believe in and the way of life. It is what derives our foundation. It is your ideas, your plan, your rules and principles. It is about where you get your inspiration from or whom you get it from. It is about your faith. It is about principles. It's about your value, your integrity, honesty, compassion, self-respect, respect for others. It's about what secures it, solidifies it, protects it, gives it purpose, and gives it directions. It is about something great. So as you go into and look at this, I want you to write a life imperative. I want you to start with looking at your mind and your mindset and your thoughts and your perspective. I want you to look at your beliefs and what you anchor yourself to, what you derive your strength from. What is the foundation of where you build everything from? What is that? Who is that? Whom is that? Where does it come from? And make sure that that's solid and that it's rooted. And then I want you to take a look at every single thing that you're doing in your life, from your career to your relationships, to your friendships, to your health, to even your physical body and your strength, okay, to even your mental health, even your, as they say, your belief, the spirituality of yourself. I want you to look at everything. I want you to look at your finances. I want you to look at what are you doing even when it comes to building a future. What are you doing to build a future for you and your family, or even to be able to give, to be about other people? I want you to look at all of those things. I want you to be truthful to yourself. I want you to make some hardcore decisions to what stays, what goes, what you're going to lay, and who you're going to be, what you're going to derive from, what are the principles that you're going to live. And then you pour and you build and you protect it and you secure it. And now when every single thing starts to happen in your life or come into your life, that you're going to stand on guard and you're going to make sure that it matches that, or what does need to happen in order for it to. And that may be speaking up or addressing it, or you need to ask yourself, can it come in here? And if I let it in here, what is it going to do to my foundation? What is it going to do to my structure and what I'm building? What is it going to do to my life? And that's where I want you to go. And that's what a life imperative is. And that sometimes takes about 2 weeks to really put together, but I want you to do that. So that as you're building your goals and your plan for next year, and you're looking at the things that you're going to do and the things you're no longer going to do and who you're going to do it with and the way in which you do it, it will be built from this and maybe not from where it's been built from. You will have these things pouring into it and not what's being poured into it right now. And you will have a whole nother different outcome, which is why to do it, you must unplug from everything. It must be nothing but about truth, and it can't be about the image of others. It's an image of only the one that you've been given, you and your life. So I truly hope this has blessed you. And I'm hoping that you guys have shared it, okay? Because the foundation we lay is what we build upon, what gets built, and what we create, and make sure the life that you have is the life that you're trying to create, and one that was paid for you, okay? All right, I love you guys. Have a good one. Happy New Year to you. And I look forward to seeing you next year, you guys. Bye-bye.